And that was some pages from Night Owl BBS and a selection of alternative content as well. Kindly supplied to us courtesy of Brian Martin. Night Owl BBS is live and online right now. I can confirm that. I visited the mailbox server on there prior to coming on there this evening. The address, if you want to pop along and have a look for yourself, is on screen now. Alternatively, you can access it via the web, and links to that are in the description to this video. A very good evening to you. This is Wi-Fi Sheep Live. The time is 2000 hours GMT. Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to 8 Till Late from youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep with me, Tom. How are you doing? Fantastic to have your company today. Hope you are well. We're back. We are more or less on a regular live stream schedule now. So apologies for the slight delays or cancellations of live stream episodes. I know we weren't here last week, then we were, then we weren't the week before. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything now should be a little more in order. In order, should I say, if I can speak. You have to excuse me a moment. Just literally 3 minutes prior to 8 o'clock, I decided to have a massive sneezing fit, which I'm sure you really wanted to know. And I was like, please not now. Anyway, hope you're well, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Bit of a heads up for anyone is waiting. We won't be he says, we won't be booting up a BBC Micro tonight. We will be looking at some Acorn and some BBC Micro related stuff. A few other things I want to do as well, so we probably won't get around to physically switching a BBC Micro on tonight, but we will be doing hopefully interesting and relevant stuff around it, ready for next week, where we will be switching a beat back on, he says, hopefully. Anyway, before we go any further, let's take a quick look at our YouTube and Patreon channel members. There they all are. Huge thank you to all of them who contribute to this channel and allow things like 8 Till Late to happen. And hello and apologies to Robert Diggle there right on the end of the list. I've only noticed the other week, for some reason, Robert's name had slipped off the bottom of the list. So I haven't had his name on there for possibly months, and I've only just realised. And last week I tried to correct that, and you may remember we just had a blank screen appear. So apologies to Robert, who has been with me for quite some time. Really do appreciate your support. There is, at the moment, the entire list of everybody across Patreon and YouTube that do support this channel, and it really is appreciated. If you want to join them, you can do so. It's patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. Alternatively, you can stay right here on YouTube. YouTube channel members, there they all are. And we go from £0.99, that's 99 pence on base support, all the way up to £2.99. Now that's British pound sterling, and that will be transferred into your local currencies, or if it can't be, you'll see those equivalent prices in US dollars. You just have to click the join button. The link is in the description. There should be a little join button underneath this video or live stream, depending on how you're watching. Okay, before I forget what else I've got to say. Right, reminder of show dates, still to be confirmed, but looking like it is pretty much going to happen. I hope it happens. I booked the hotels. So the National Museum of Computing, Bletchley Park, the Econet LAN party, Saturday the 7th of June, Sunday the 8th of June 2025, subject to change. Going to be the Acorn Econet LAN party. I went 2 years ago, didn't go last year. I'll be back for both days this year. So the museum is open as normal. It's a great museum. If you've never been, it's well worth a visit. And there's also going to be a lot of Acorn hardware linked together via the Econet LAN system. I think there's going to be some talks as well, so it's going to be an absolutely fantastic day. That's kind of why I've been working on the Acorn content, to get ready to bring a couple of machines down to the National Computer Museum to kind of link up. And yeah, it's just a fun day to hang out over 2 days, over the Saturday, Sunday. Obviously, you've got all the amazing content at the museum as well, so it's well worth a visit. Yeah, it'd be great to see you. Cambridge Retro Festival, that's in November, Saturday the 15th and Sunday the 16th of November. Went last year. Yes, I was there. Was I here the year before? Can't remember now. Don't think I was. Anyway, I was there last year. It's a fantastic event, and looking forward to going back. Now, I have a bit of news from Cambridge that they're going to have a theme this year for the main November event, and that's going to be retro gaming. Surprise, surprise. So everything has to have a sort of gaming theme to it. So yeah, which is fine. So I'm planning of taking more Acorn content. So we're going to have some Acorn gaming. There's a lot of gaming for the Acorn platform, thank goodness. So, yep, looking forward to that. So, Cambridge Retro Fest. Again, another fantastic museum. The Centre for Computer History, Cambridge, England. Well worth a visit. Those are the details. As soon as I actually got details of prices and tickets, I will obviously let you all know. And everything I tell you is to the best of my knowledge, which typically isn't particularly good and happens to change, or what I'm told to tell you is then completely wrong. But at the moment, that's how it stands. Okay, there we go. Brilliant. Cup of tea time. I've actually, the setup tonight, I'm on time. Everything's pretty, I don't want to say everything's working because it'll break in a minute. But everything is pretty much working. I've made myself my cup of tea, so I'm quite happy. And the reason for that is I've actually been recording a video all day. So we've had we is in the plural, me has had a new sponsor partner. That's why you may notice when you came onto the stream this evening or watch it back, contains product placement. We've had a product come in, and I've been asked to make a video on it. I won't dwell on it too much here, but I thought you might be interested. So, and again, I stress this is a sponsored bit. I have been sent this. So, but this is a KickPi development board. So KickPi is a relatively new entrant into the ARM single board computer domain. And they got in touch with me quite a while ago, actually, and they've actually now sent me a product. What's interesting about these is, if you're watching from the UK, these are actually in a Amazon UK warehouse. So they're shipped out from the UK. They're not coming from China. Obviously they originate from China, but there's a stock of them here in the UK. But I thought we'd just have a quick look. There's other things we want to look at tonight, but I'll show you this. So, by the way, I think the packaging is actually very good. I like this smart but simplistic packaging. So let me just show you the actual board itself. And I've got to be honest with you, it's quite nice. Appreciate I am sponsored to say things about it, but the rule of thumb when we're looking at sponsored products here on the channel, and there will be a follow-up video for this, but if I'm not interested or don't think that you'd be interested, I won't show it. And trust me, I get offered a lot of stuff, and most of the time I say no. But as you know, I'm a bit fan of the odd single board computer development board. So when I'm offered something that's very interesting, 9 times out of 10, we'll actually take a look. This is the live Amazon links. This is off amazon.co.uk, and the price £27.99, which I think is about 30. Oh, don't quote me on this. 35 US dollars, something like that. But it's actually under £30, which is not bad actually. So it's ARM based. It's an all-winner. We can see that it's all-winner H618 quad-core 64-bit chip, 2 gigahertz clock speed. This one is the 2 gig version, but what's interesting and why I like these Chinese boards is they all have onboard eMMC. So it has onboard ROM storage, if you like. So this does have 8 gig on board, and it's just the one thing. You might remember how disappointed I actually was with the Raspberry Pi 5 and the 500 because it didn't have things on it that basically nearly all I keep saying Chinese clone boards. These aren't really a clone anymore. It's its own thing. It's its own design in its own right. But the Chinese alternatives all have got, some cases, faster processors, more RAM, and onboard flash storage. So you don't actually need an SD card anymore to work with these. So I thought it was interesting, and I think under £30 is not bad. So what I like about it is, you notice how all the connectors are actually facing one side of the board. So if you wanted to basically build a single board computer out of that, or embedded in a system, it's kind of nice. You can have all your connectors at the back or the front or whatever. Also, standoffs. The standoffs came fitted to it, and I've generally never seen that on an ARM dev board. before. So that comes part of it. Also, the little aerial tail for the Wi-Fi. That also comes as standard. A lot of these boards generally don't offer that. You have to buy that separately. So that's really nice. You've actually got buttons. You've got reset button, user button. It does have a GPIO of sorts, although as far as I'm aware, the pinout is not standardized with anything else. It's its own pinout on the GPIO. So you can't fit Raspberry Pi hats or anything onto this. It's not compatible like that. Another thing you may notice, look, full size HDMI, USB 2, full size, USB-C power supply, Ethernet connector for networking. Yeah. So, oh yeah, and a headphone jack, proper headphone jack on the side. So, yeah, first impressions are actually very good. Now, obviously, I've done the review video, so I know what this is like. I could power you up and show you what it's like, which I will do. I did flash an SD card for it. This is an 8 gig card with the custom images that you need for this. So it's not Raspberry Pi compatible, if you know what I mean, in that sense. So you have to flash your own images for it. Well, I say your own. They offer you alternative ARM Linux images for it. If I just power it up, I'll show you. And again, we won't dwell too far on this, but I'll show you what it does. So if I power it up, let's put, I need to put a mouse on at the very least. There we go. So just stock USB mouse, like that. Raspberry Pi 4 USB-C power supply. You get the gist. There we go. Okay, so SD card is out. We're going to capture. So this is booted. This came with it. I've not installed this. So this Allwinner H618. Okay. And this is the Android build. So this comes with it as stock. And yeah, I mean, it's all right, I suppose. So it kind of can work as a media center out the bag, which could have its uses, I guess, if you need to display things on a monitor or just need a very quick, simple thing that works out of the box. So you can add USB files onto it. Basically, if you want to use it as a media center, I think it'd be absolutely fine for that. Oh, allow. Admittedly, I don't quite know how well Android OSs work with a mouse-based interface. Oh, there we go. Gallery, I don't think I have anything in it. Nope. Apps. Not a huge amount on there. But I assume you could add Android apps if you wanted to. Saying that, there was a file manager. File manager? Yeah. That is the file manager. Right, yeah. So, okay. Yeah, fair enough. How do we go back? There we go. Thank you. Set it. I'm not used to Android. I've got to be very honest with you. Right, so I haven't actually configured the Bluetooth or Wi-Fi for this, but it's all there. It's all good. We'll just power that off. There we go. Right. So that's the stock Android that comes with it, which, yeah, so as I said, the data center, well, not data center, media center, perfectly good. So this is the image that, if we go back to the web browser just quick, So over on KickPi, this is kickpi.com, and they do rock chip and all winner boards. We know these processors. We've used this and talked about these numerous times before. So the S3-E10, which is the processor. The product we're actually looking at here is the K2B. There we go. And if we scroll down, I've gone past it. There we go. So downloads, and then there's tools. So there's a user manual, there's hardware, there's tools, there's open source code, and there's compiled images for it. This takes you to a OneDrive, and you've got Ubuntu, and you've got Android, which are the two OSs. So I went with Ubuntu, and then it gives you a server option or a desktop XFCE. It's just an image file which I downloaded. We flashed it the way you'd flash a Raspberry Pi image using, in my case, Balena Etcher. We've done that 1,000,001 times on the channel. And that gives you SD card. Put the SD card. So the SD card slot is underneath. There we go. Okay, it's just an 8 gig card. So that's now in. If we now go back to Capture, let's power back up. So the SD card is now in. It does take a minute, I will give you that. There we go. Boot kernel. So this is Ubuntu. And we'll do a desktop quite quickly. This is XFCE desktop client. And yeah, now I have already set up, so obviously I've done a review video today, so I've set up Wi-Fi. I'll show you, if we go to, the web browser is Google Chromium as stock standard. And I've sort of realised that I haven't need to put a keyboard in. That might be an idea. Can't just do this from a mouse. So I've just got one of my little off-the-shelf USB keyboards. The nice thing of it having the two USBs is at the very least you can put a keyboard and a mouse in without having to faff around, which is nice. So just pop that in there. Okay, keyboard is on. Right. And if we go to, actually we just go to the top. So if we go youtube.com/Wi-Fi sheep. It does take a moment. So we could watch ourselves back. Oh no, that would be awful. That would be awful. Should we do that? Okay, I apologise if this goes horribly wrong. They're probably going to give me an advert though. This is a bad idea. This is a proper bad idea right now. I'm going to get a horrible echo. Okay, there we are. The only oh dear. And that's why you should never watch yourself back on live stream. Oh, it's brilliant. The only thing it doesn't seem to work is the sound, unfortunately. It does seem to work fine, as you heard, on the Android side, but I haven't got it work. We're going to have to stop this because we're just going to create a paradox of it's just going to repeat itself because we're watching back there. That's hilarious. And then you go to Audio Mixer, and I have found this to be a little bit buggy, which is that's hilarious. Oh dear. No, let's stop that. Can tell we're live. Yeah. On stuff that's, let's go to videos. It's okay. It's a little sluggish, if I'm honest. Sound, I did have sound working properly through the headphone port here. So it does sound, but it's not putting sound through HDMI, unfortunately. And it seems to be a little bit buggy on the configuration tools. So that's probably something it would need to be rectified in the Ubuntu build. But otherwise, the Ubuntu build is okay. It works. Perhaps not the best for YouTube, admittedly. But you'll see it's a little slow getting going, which is a shame. But it's not too bad once it gets going, but you can tell there's a slight frame drop. Now we're running out. What are we running there? That's 720p. I did have it running at 1080 earlier on for some of my content that is in 1080. I mean, it's okay. You can tell it's skipping a little bit, but it's all right. It's watchable. So that's the web browser. The only thing I wanted to try, and I couldn't get any of this to work, was I wanted to try and install LibreOffice, which it was just having issues. And I was trying to get it to sudo app install. The password, by the way, is KickPi. It's the default password. See if it would actually install LibreOffice. Yeah, and it's just, everything just seems to be broken, which is install LibreOffice. Try again. I don't have sudo apt install sudo apt install LibreOffice. There we go. Right, let's try that. Yeah, and it sort of does that, which, and when you try, sorry for the motorbikes, if you try to do an update, it gets so far, because normally you do an update and that fixes it, and then it does that and breaks. So yeah, yeah, a bit disappointing. I'm just going to see if we've got any builds of Python on board. We have. We've got a Python 3.10. But we've got Python on board. That's cool. I didn't check that earlier. Okay. So, yeah, there's not an awful lot on here. It has got the Genie IDE, which I kind of like. So I'm kind of like that's on as standard. XFCE is a desktop I quite like. It's just a sort of bare minimal setup, really. But yeah, it's all right. It's not bad. Do you know what? We have to remember this is what, 30, it's not even £30, it's £27, which is going to be about 35 US dollars, something like that. It's not bad. It's not bad at all for that. So just shut down. So I will drop a link into something and be very clever. I'll drop the, where are we? If it'll go. Nope, it won't go. That's good. Too long a URL. How annoying. Just bear with me. There we go. We'll do that. Should also probably say hello in the chat, really, because I'm just looking at my chat for the first time. So anyway, yeah, so that's the KickPi development board. So again, just to stress, this has been sent to me. It is sponsored. I benefit from the result of talking about this. But I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't think it was remotely interesting. It's not perfect, as you've seen, but to be honest with you, for less than £30, the spec is actually very good. It does work very well, and I think more as maybe an Android media center, it would actually be very good. Or for embedded systems, for robots, or embedded projects, weather stations, that kind of thing. I think it would actually work very, very well. So, yeah, I do like it. I do like it, and I like the price point, which is why I'm showing it. So we'll just say hello in the chat. So we'll say hello to Martin and to the Imp67. Good evening to you, and hello to Brian as well. Hello, how you doing, Brian? I've sent you a message over on Night Owl. I can't spell on Night Owl, but I have sent you a message. So. And where are we? So, haven't Raspberry Pi added eMMC options? Yes. So they have to the compute modules have them as options, but the sort of like the stock, someone can correct me, but as far as I'm aware, the stock boards are the 4 to 502, Pi 02, etc. don't. And that's the difference between these sorts of products. Is they're kind of in that ballpark of being the single board computers. They're not modules for other systems, and they do actually have, all of them have had standard now, some sort of eMMC on board, and we've had that for a couple of years. I've got a which one was it? It's not in here, but a Banana Pi Pi Zero clone, and their version of the Pi Zero in the same form factor has eMMC on board. So I will say hello to Keyup, who has joined us. Good evening to you. Yeah, so it's just frustrating. And when the 500, the all-in-one Pi 500 came out, and it still didn't have eMMC on board, or an ability to even fit the, what's the card they do? I bought one. I can't remember what it's called now. The little, someone help me out here. What's the, oh, I've gone blank. What's the data cards that fit under them? Like the solid state SSDs. I can't remember the name of it, but Raspberry do a branded solid state SSD card. And they didn't even put the adapter in the 500 for that to work. But it was on the board as if the actual soldering was there, ready to have one, and they just didn't populate it. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? And we went over that at the time. So, yeah, that's why I kind of haven't bothered with the 500. So, M.2, thank you, Martin. M.2, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, I bought one. I got one of those cards somewhere. And ironically, I'm probably going to fit it to one of the Chinese boards I have that I do use, because they all have a lot of them can accept all these type of cards. They can accept solid state storage. They can accept, they've got EPROMs on board, so they can actually run OSs. I mean, the good one is the Orange Pi 800, which runs the display. That's a bundle as well, but that doesn't have an SD card. It runs off its internal eMMC, and it's been been in use a few years now since I bought that. It's actually been really good. So, yeah, I think just as I said at the start, the exciting one about this is they're actually got a UK distribution. So the Amazon link, and I tried to post a link, and annoyingly it kind of went off onto a strange place. I'll try to see if this works. Doubt it does, but we'll give it a shot. So just bear with me. Does that work? Okay, so that's the Amazon store. That's the UK store, and it's very just interesting the fact that they can ship in 3 days. I've not had a product that's not Raspberry Pi, if you know what I mean, that could actually ship in that short amount of time because it's actually in stock in the country already. And that's something that's quite different with KickPi. And I think, to be honest with you, for the price point, it's worth a look, and it's okay. And I think with a little bit of tweaking and perhaps a few updates on their side to their Ubuntu image, I think it would actually work out as a very productive little system, depending what you want to do. Anyway, right, advert over. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. I thought you might be interested in that. So let's pop that out the way. How's everyone's week been, by the way? So I've been away, as you know, for a little bit. So I had family. Hang on. There we go. I had family round actually 2 weeks now. So not last week, but the week before that. And then obviously, no, yes, last week I did. The week before that I didn't. We were here. And the week after before that, so 3 weeks ago, I had family again. So that's why we've been a bit sporadic on the schedule. But yeah. So how's everyone's week been? Mine's been, the past 2 weeks have actually been very interesting. I'll show you some photos. So my week at work started like this. Yeah, so I'm desperately trying to get some stuff printed, 3D printed at work. You set up the printer overnight, you leave it to run. And I created this magnificent ball of spaghetti. I thought, is that the beginning of my day? This just quickly, a bit of a milestone for me. So this was an actual taught lecture session for undergraduate engineering students. So for those of you that don't know, I work as a mechatronics electrics technician for Harper Adams University here in Shropshire, England. But I also have some teaching responsibility. And for the very first time last week, I produced and gave a solo lecture to second year undergraduate engineering students. There was the module code, sensors and preparation in, get it right, sensors and perception in autonomous systems. So that's my slides, and I did a 1 hour lecture, and then we moved to a lab. So this was a lecture room we were in, like an open plan classroom, but we were in this room. We then went to a lab and we did a practical session for another hour, so 2 hours. It's not the first teaching I've done, but it's a milestone because it's the first teaching I've done to undergraduates in our own department. So I've done school visits, I've done college visits, I've even lectured some business development students. Nothing to do with our department, but they wanted a lecture in 3D printing, which of course I do. But yeah, so just a little milestone right there. Moving on, we had another big school visit. We had F1 in schools. Our university is a partner of F1, Formula One in schools. And they had to hold at last minute the regional world championship. The regional championships were meant to be held at some other school or conference centre in Telford, Shropshire, and that burst the water main and flooded. So at literally the last minute, the whole thing was brought to Harper Adams. I didn't know anything about this because I had Monday off. When I came into work Tuesday, I was away for a day and the entire world was upside down, and I hadn't been briefed. Well, I had been briefed. I hadn't checked my emails. Anyway, so this, obviously I couldn't photograph much because obviously we were dealing with underage children on site, and photography is a bit of a no-no. But this is our professional rally car. We have a professional rally team, World Rally Championship team, based at the university, and this is the university's, it's a Ford Fiesta. And this was outside in its new vinyl wrap for this season. And I noticed on top of it, and I don't know why that was put there, but on top of it, on the bonnet, it's one of one of the Atlas robots, which is self-aware autonomous virtual platform. So these are intelligent robotic buggies. They're actually powered by Arduino 2560s. So it's the same chipset we've been using for Tiny Basic and Project Rio. So it's an 8-bit chip. You see the orange PIP board, the clone Arduino board on top there, the orange board. The main PCB is bespoke to us. It was designed by a colleague of mine, and the body kit there, the 3D print body kit, that's my design, and I maintain a fleet of these buggies that we use for training and days out and that kind of thing. And we can use them for training for autonomous vehicle programming with students. They can learn about self-driving cars and robots and perception and that kind of thing. So why that was on the bonnet outside, I don't know, but there it was. Moving on, this is in what's called the soil hall. So we had another robot competition. Our 4th year students have been building their own buggies, and a video coming up soon on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2 will be this year's Robot Buggy Challenge. Robot Buggy Challenge from last year, 2024, is on the channel right now, Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. And I've got all the footage to edit together for the competition this year. So this was actually filming day. This is one of my higher spec HD cameras, which was one of 2 cameras used for filming. And here we actually are. This is the course sort of in the corner of the soil hall. So it's a indoor dirt track course. And here are 4th year students. You can actually see one of the buggies. They built these buggies. We've literally given them an off-road remote control car chassis without the remote and a blank PCB. And I've given them an Arduino Uno. And we said, go away and build a self-aware, intelligent, autonomous buggy capable of navigating and driving itself around a course. And the course has got hills and doors and ramps and all sorts of things, and has to do 3-point turns and all kinds of things. So very, very fun day. Fantastic work done by the students. So much so I've actually borrowed some of the source code they've developed, because we're going to put it back into those Atlas buggies, the first ones you saw, because we are doing things like optical AI, deep learning, that kind of thing. So very interesting day, and I look forward to sharing the video with you as soon as I get that edited. I think that's it. That was chicken food from the other week, so I think we're done. Okay, there we are. So yeah, busy week at work. It's quite fun actually. So I'll tell you what we'll do now. We'll do some BBC Micro bits now. I do have a few other things to share with you a bit later on if we got time, if we need some filler. So I said in the intro, I don't have access to power up a BBC Micro directly today, but what I do want to do is work on the Retro Clinic. I can't remember what they're called. Why am I going blank tonight? The thing I've got one of that I need to do things to. There you go. Oh, that makes sense. Data center. That's the word I was looking for. Right. In this box, I showed it 2 weeks ago, is BBC Micro User Quest trackpad that we use when we're running Jam. Don't need that right this second. But I actually have, this was donated by a channel fan and Patreon backer. This is a Retro Clinic data center. Move that out of the way. So I've not actually powered this up or tested it. I think it's relatively brand new, but I believe it may have spent some time in a rather outside-ish type place. So it did need a little bit of cleaning up, but it's still got the plastic film, protecting film on it. So these effectively, if you don't know, these are for the BBC Micro. They go into the 1 megahertz bus on the underside of a BBC Micro, and basically allow or act as a hard drive, so you can store or have larger programs that the BBC Micro can access. And it's all solid state, which is quite clever. So it has CF compact flash CF cards, ADFS, and it also has the ability to use USB. So that's the one that was donated to me by, I think it's Eric. I can't remember the surname. Eric's Stubbs or something, I think it was. If you're watching, Eric, hope you're doing well. In this bag, this came with it. Fortunately, this came with it. There's a micro SD card, and there's 2 EEPROMs. One is ADFS, which I don't think we're going to need. And the other is RAMFS. So I believe at least, quote me on this, but I believe at least one of these is needed in conjunction to work with the data center, he says. So these are the EEPROMs that would be fitted inside the machine to act as drivers. This, I believe, has images and software on. But what we don't have, and what this one was missing, so I've got the power supply. I've never actually powered it up. I have the power supply, but what we are missing is there should be, on the back of it, there should be a ribbon, a standard floppy type 34-pin ribbon, which we don't have. We also don't have any CF cards. So I've been buying, and in here, fresh from eBay, I've bought 2 straight pin-to-pin 34-pin ribbon cables. The issue, although these are sort of standard floppy type cables, the issue with trying to use floppy disk cables, which you can get hold of a little more easily, is they usually have a twist in them. And BBC Micros don't want to twist, they just want to go straight through. So I bought 2 because I want to use one to use in an actual floppy disk drive, and the other one I need to actually put into this. So that is something we can do right now. And I guess we can power it up and just see if it's okay, if it appears okay. I'm just trying to find a suitable screwdriver. He says, let's have a look. That might work. Should also point out they don't make these anymore. So I think they've been replaced with like a Pi-based unit. So I was very fortunate to be given one of these, as long as it is relatively all intact, but I haven't tested this and it was missing its ribbon. So okay, so that's basically the inside. So it does have an internal ribbon. So it has this custom PCB, and then it has this, which is the CF card interface. And basically, you can see here is the standard ribbon connector. So the ribbon wants to sort of go, it's keyed. You can see how it's keyed. So I'm assuming if it's keyed the right way, that is, we're going in like that. So we need to just run it under here, pull back these 2 metal tabs, run it under here, connect in like that, down like that, push these tabs here back over, and that's in. Pop that back like that. That should be in. Top of the case back on. There we go. So that should be the ribbon that will go into the underside of a BBC Micro. Why do I get the feeling, sod's law, I'm going to be pulling a BBC Micro out by the end of tonight and we'll test it. Because I want to know. I'm not tempting fate. I really want to do that next week, to be fair. There's a few other things I want to do tonight, but okay. So hopefully that's the correct way around, he says. Who knows? I've never powered it on. I've generally never powered it up. So let's put the power supply in. This is the correct power supply. Output 5 volts DC. Yeah. Okay, this is the power supply for it. So I could just plug in. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Never been turned on with me before, so that seems happy. just turn that back off. Brian in chat there saying I've never opened my DCE. Yeah, yeah, it's quite a nice design inside, but I said mine doesn't have, for some reason, hadn't got the lead on it. So I don't know if this works, in all honesty. But yeah, so that's the first bit of the data center done. And then the second bit was, and we can test these in a minute. Second bit is in this envelope. And I got hold of some compact flash cards. Does anybody remember using these back in the day? I do have a couple lying around somewhere and I just couldn't find them. So I used these in my very first digital camera. So these are ones I bought, are Cisco brand 128 megabyte cards. They are used, they're not new, and I've not tested them yet. So I don't know. Basically, I don't know how good they are, if they work. And I'm now just having a think: do I even have a reader, USB reader for compact flash cards? I do have internal readers for PCs, and that might be fun. I used to, and I'm sure I did at one point. Yeah, but not quite at the moment. Right, I'm not. You know what? I'm not digging around for stuff tonight. Yeah, so the plan with these cards is I'll set my Bridge PC back up, which normally, well, has been sitting here. So it's gone tonight, so you can see the screen again. But yeah, I'll set the PC back up, and I need to check to see if these cards are okay. Annoyingly, I do have a USB reader for them somewhere, but you know, you don't really use compact flash cards that often. I've gone for the 128s because they were relatively cheap. I hope they work. And also for BBC micro images and even hard drive images, probably the maximum would be about 5 megabytes. You know, these are huge in comparison for what we're using them for. But basically, you can actually fit multiple images, and they'd actually go into the back of the machine, or back of the data center. You got any cards on yours then, Brian? Or are you going through USB? There we go. So you put your cards in like that, and then that would sit on the back, and those would act. That would act as your hard drive. But yeah, 4 SD cards. So hopefully they're cheap enough, but hopefully they're all working. But at least if 2 are working, that's good enough. Now, one thing we can absolutely do is have a look at the content of this card, because I think this was meant to have a CD with it at some point, which had a lot of software and images on. I don't have that, so I think it's all on here, he says. So if we try just a PC, I've got one of these cheap readers. I honestly thought this had stupidly, wrongly, I thought this had a compact flash on it, but it doesn't. So we'll put that in there. Let's put that onto the PC. And apologies, this is all going to go a little bit psychobabble in a minute, but just bear with me. So like that, there we go. Right, so this is the contents of what's on D drive, and yeah, fair bit of stuff on here actually. So as I don't have a backup of any of this data, I might just copy it across actually. Copy. You know, I hate Windows 11. It's not as nice to use as 10 or 7 or even XP was. Right, so what should we call this? We'll call this data backups. Apologies if me now doing this is going to make the, because this is the streaming machine you're looking at. So let's just see if we can get this data across. Over 10,000 items to move. Nice. We'll come back to that in a minute. But yeah, so we'll get that copied across. I think that's got the software on. He says, but I just, in case that SD card goes down, at least if I've got a copy of it, we can put it onto something else or move it off onto machines. A lot of the BBC Micro utilities, the modern utilities, are kind of written or stuck in the 32-bit world of Windows XP or even Windows 2000. So it's probably a lot of that stuff won't work on 11. So I need the kind of the bridge machine that we were using. I'm just going to see in the chat what Brian's been updating. When you plug it in on the Beeb, you'll switch on. You'll get a yellow CF light up if you have CF cards in. You also have to format the cards. Yeah, there's a utility called in the data center called HD init. Yeah. Okay, so is that on the ROM? I'm assuming that's on the ROM. Oh, on the EEPROM we've got to put in it. This will format the cards, utilities in drive 4 of the RAMFS. I assume you have the RAMFS in the Beeb. Yes. Oh yeah. So, yeah, that's the RAMFS. Sorry, that's the RAMFS EEPROM right there. And so that's the one that needs HD in it. Yeah, so that needs to go inside one of the machines that's going to use this. What I was hoping, but I don't think this is going to work, is I was hoping to be able to use this as a DOS format hard drive for the BBC version of Gem that we've been playing with the other week. I don't honestly think this is going to do it. I don't know, but I don't think it would, which is a shame. Because I think it's only looking for the ADFS filing format, which is, yeah, a bit annoying. But very, very generous to be given one of these for free, even if it was a little bit incomplete, but it's only a minor, inconvenience at best. I also have, and I showed this the other week, that it's a little bit water damaged, so I'm trying to get it out without causing a massive pile of stuff to fall over. I also have the manual for it, so it's a little bit water damaged, but it's relatively intact. And this actually gives you the setup of how things actually work, so it even tells you where to put them in the master. One assumes I probably need both of them then from the looks of it. Yeah, so basically what we'll probably do is I want to save that for next week, in all honesty. But it's good that it looks like it's alive. Hopefully these cards work. We get these inside the Beeb, or inside a master that we're going to use it with. If we can get at least an Acorn type hard drive up and running, we have the ability then to do some quite interesting things, including run some more modern projects that need hard drive loading to work. And I've only ever got virtual floppy loading, even things like the Gocart, the eMMC devices, stuff like that. eMMC? No, sorry. What was the SD card solution called? Turbo MMC, thank you. So I've basically only ever got 200k floppy disk images to work effectively. So this potentially, I've had it for a while, it's a game changer. And again, it's why I'm trying to get all my Acorn setups kind of up to speed, optimal, so they're kind of fun for me to use and allow me to do things that interest me, which is kind of what a lot of retro computing, you could argue, is about. There's a preservation element, but there's also, if you're running these machines and owning these machines privately, it's like, what are you going to get them to do that interests you? And of course, as you know, a lot of those projects I sort of forward or do here on the channel. Yeah, so are we finished copying yet? Let me just see. No, we're not. We're about 38% through. Okay, that's fun. So, apologies for the where's that gone? Oh, there we go. Right. While we wait for that, oh no, I don't want to look at that, don't we? Right. While we wait for that, I'm going to share with you just quickly. Here it is. Something I kind of bought today because it popped up. It popped up on my Facebook, and yeah, talk about the algorithm getting me to buy things. You're probably aware at time of I say recording, at time of live streaming, you are probably aware that it's March. And though I don't follow fads, of course, there is a retro fad at the moment for Marcintosh, which is the Macintosh sort of videos for the month of March. I did Tandy for the Tandy Color computer in TRS-80, and I wasn't planning on doing a Macintosh thing, but then this popped up today, and I've bought one. So it's a Apple Macintosh Mini 128K kit. So basically, some very clever people managed to figure out how to get the Mini V Mac emulator, I think it is, running natively on a Raspberry Pi Pico without needing the overarching Linux operating system. So the Pico is Raspberry Pi's microcontroller, ARM-based microcontroller. And as a result, a string of quite cheap kits have popped up that allow you to create a little mini Mac, original Macintosh 1984 Macintosh 128, and run Mac software from SD card. So it's all VGA driven, USB keyboard and mouse. The kit, very simple, as you can see here on the eBay listing. So I've gone and bought one of these today, and I'm thinking I'm going to try and put together a little video for Marcintosh. I can't say it. Marcintosh. I'm actually building this, which looks quite fun. It's a very simple kit to do. So, yeah, I look forward to that. And who knows, that might expand into something. I'll just add it to the list of things that I'm meant to be doing here on the channel. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. So, yeah, it's quite a simple build. I probably could have breadboarded one of those, in all honesty. The software and the downloads is all free for it. You just have to compile the software, and you need some ROMs, which you can get hold of very easily. So, yeah. I'm just noticing I keep getting an error this evening, so I'm just checking to make sure we're still live. I hope I am still live and you're still with me. I've had this on or off now where it sort of... it probably doesn't help the fact I'm trying to copy and paste a large amount of data off an SD card whilst trying to live stream. So yeah, we are having some bandwidth issues. So apologies if I've gone a bit choppy. Yeah. Well, we're still going. I just might be a bit choppy, so apologies for that. Anyway. Right, yeah. So that will be coming up on the channel. Quite a few things coming up on the channel. So the review video, Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. Hang on, glasses. Glasses. Where are we? There we go. Right. I've just made them all smeary. Hang on. Sorry. Sorry about this, everyone. 1 minute. So I can see what I'm doing. Right. Okay, there we go. Right. Yeah, so Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2 is going to have this year's Robot Buggy Challenge from Harper Adams University, which will be quite fun. That's going to be coming up shortly. We're going to have a review of the KickPi product, single board computer. That's coming up as well here on the main Wi-Fi Sheep channel. I am working on more video content for my Rotten Acorns series. That'll be coming up here on the live stream. We'll be back to Acorns next week. Actually, we're going to do some more Acorn stuff very shortly, actually. But next week we're going to test this data center out, get it working with a BBC Master. Hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. We'll play with these cards and get it all up and running. Right, when we come back, 'cause I'm going to get a cup of tea now. So we've been here for just about an hour. So that's not bad going. So let's have a tea break. So let's say 10 minutes tops. And when we come back, we'll look at something else Acorn related that I've dug out. I thought I'd lost it and I found it. So I want to see if it works. So we're going to do that next. So we'll go for a tea break. I'll leave you with pages from Night Owl BBS and we'll be back in about 10 minutes time. And we're back, and I've got a cup of tea, and I'm quite happy now. So, there we go. Right, welcome back. 8 till 8, live on youtube.com/Wi-Fi sheep. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. I've not put enough sugar in that, but never mind. Right, bit of news for you. While we've been away, the download has stopped, so the stream, so the video going out to you is probably better now. Apologies if it broke up a little bit. I was getting warning that I was maybe pushing things a little bit too far. Let's just go back to video. That's the wrong one. Sorry. That's the wrong one. Hang on. This chair is squeaky as well, which is annoying. Right. So there's the downloads done. I say downloads, so we just copied off of my micro SD card. So I'm guessing that's the retro software. There it is. So the ROMs, manuals, samples. That's interesting. Elite. SSD. Actually, I'll tell you what we could try. So I've actually got BBEM is running. So when you're watching pages from Night Owl, this is what you're watching. I'm just watching the BBEM emulator. If I just hit reset, there we go. File load documents, data center backup, retro clinic, samples, elite. And if I go shift F12, yeah, there it is. Master 512 version, colour. Master 512, Master 128, what am I talking about? There we are. Interesting. Very interesting. So there's a few other things on there as well. Drivers. Hello, what's this? X64. Is this software compatible then with 11? I've just been in samples. PS2 to mouse. Arduino sketch. Really? Really? I'm probably stressing out the stream again now, unfortunately. Oh no, we're doing all right. By the way, if I'm doing this, I can't see chat, so I'll catch up with you in a minute. But God, the Arduino IDE has gotten slow. This code will turn a PS2 mouse into a quadrature. I can't say that. Quadrature. You know what? I'm not going to try. Mouse for Archimedes or BBC Micro. No components required for this project. Just the PS2 socket and whatever connector the retro computer requires. Wow. Seriously? And that just gives you the pin out. So there's your PS2. Data, and then, yeah, hold on, data pins. Oh, it might be worth a try. Why didn't I know about this then? I've seen the adapters, and I'm assuming that's all the adapters are doing then. Is literally just that. Okay. What's the readme say? Rumware. If you like it, send them. I should do that with tiny basic computers. Silly 2 mouse. That's the thing, isn't it? Not silly. Smally mouse 2. Got my glasses on. I still can't read properly. Game compilations. On earth is all this? Can you even click? No. On the Mac, you can click and drag to load. How bizarre. Oh well. Mighty Acorn Archive. But oh, potentially unwanted app found. Oh, have I put something on? Have I put something on here that's bad? What's the problem? Interesting. Interesting. Foxit Reader. Right, okay. Remove. Because that's the risk of doing this on PCs. If yeah. Probably break the PC now. So yeah, could have brought a virus in. Interesting. So that was in there, was it? Right. So where was that? Documents, data center backups. Oh, it was in Mighty. Oh, right. Okay. So there was something in here that wasn't good. Interesting. I actually I might already have this disc. I think I bought this disc a while ago, and I don't know about viruses on the PC side because I installed it on XP, but it had RISC-OS viruses actually embedded in the software. So when you ran, it was an Archimedes emulator. It ran an emulator, and it actually had the emulator was infected. The RISC-OS 3.1, I think it was Archimedes. The emulated OS was affected by a RISC-OS virus, which, yeah, could only execute in a Archimedes 26-bit environment, so it wouldn't affect a Pi as such running 32-bit RISC-OS. But interesting. So there was something that wasn't good there. That's very interesting. Anyway, okay, that's enough of that. Let's go back to me. There we are. So apologies, I wasn't looking in. Oh, no one was talking to me in the chat anyway. So, apart from Brian saying, read your message, email me your email. Oh, right, yes. Beeb USB serial adapter. So that's something else we're going to be doing actually. BBC Micro to USB serial adapter, which is how Night Owl actually works, and I'm sort of going to play around with that myself. I don't intend to run a BBS. I'll be very honest with you, but you know, we might do a page of something just for fun. It's just really be nice to. It'd be nice to be able to use actual real hardware to like dial into other people's BBSs. So, and I think it would make good video content, and it's just interesting. I always like CFAX and teletext and stuff like that. I never used dial-up BBSs because it was a little bit before my time, and we didn't have anything like that. We didn't actually have any computers at home until when did we have our first computer? 95, 4, 5, 95. Yeah, 1995 was the first machine we had, which was Macintosh. The first home computer we had was a Macintosh. So we didn't have BBCs at home, and we didn't have Windows PCs like everyone else bought. We had a Macintosh, so which was quite rare for this country. But thank you, Brian. I'll sort that out with you when I remember. But thanks so much. That's very, very generous of you. Right. So yeah, is anyone still with me? A few of you are. That's fantastic. Okay, so something else I want to show you. Staying with the acorn theme, and this is relevant for the Rotten Acorns series, and I was hoping to find this, and I have. So back to the desk. I was looking for this. I dug this out, which so this is called the Forte, and it was sold by a RISC-OS dealership here in the UK called Arcomp, and I actually made designed these machines for Arcomp to sell, and we built about 50 plus of these. They're based on a design called the Ident CE or Ident Compact Edition, which used very similar CAD. It was actually flipped the other way and it was a bit thinner. But you might have seen, I have shown these on the channel in the past. And it was a sort of early 3D print commercial product that I tried to sell under the banner of then Ident Computer, which is what I was running as. So the idea of this was to try and create a machine. I won't go into the politics, and I have to be careful what I say. But all I will say is they were designed to be made very cheaply. I didn't get paid a lot for doing it, to be honest with you. I certainly didn't make much in the way of money. And to be honest with you, they were a little bit too cheap. And the quality isn't, you can probably tell the quality isn't really there. It's a shame because it was a good product and it was based on the design. The CAD is all entirely my own, but you can tell the finish isn't particularly great. It was done with some very, very cheap PLA, and they were rushed out at a price point which was cheap, and I don't know how many of these are actually still running. So this is sort of one of mine. I've got two, and I've already gutted it for parts. So, but yeah, so I've kind of just hidden it away. Didn't want to think about them anymore. It wasn't a particularly great time. If I take the outer shell off, they're actually based around the Raspberry Pi 4. So they have a real-time clock on board. They're meant to have a USB hub in the front, and that hub is actually hardwired into one of the USBs on the Pi. From memory, at the time when these came out, and I might be misremembering here, the actual power supply is... Yeah, okay, so the power supply is actually used as an internal USB, and that was at one point hardwired. You can see that it's actually hardwired. The wires are out, but it was hardwired into the hubs, which the hub board is in the front. And I think this one I was experimenting with adding SD card reader to it, which is what this is. And then basically you had power here, which went via a switch. So I'm not sure if this would actually power up. I've also got obviously an adapter to bring it out to full-size HDMI, because these micro HDMIs were an absolute pain. Oh, it might power up. Anyway, this came with a bespoke version of RISC-OS Direct, which was not the one you can download for free. It was a sort of premium pay version, which wasn't anything to do with me. But it did come with an awful lot of extra stuff. So I'm just curious to see if this would actually boot up. So let's just see if it does. If it does boot up, I do actually want to rescue some stuff off this. Again, it's not. It's a sort of premium pay image. I think the Forte product moved on to some off-the-shelf Chinese case, and the Forte 2, I think it is now. And I think it still uses a base of this operating system, so it's probably been updated a little bit. I don't know the ins and outs of it because I've not been part of the project for some time. You can actually tell here where I had to cover up one of the USBs, because one of them is basically jacked via a ribbon back to the front of the unit. So it's, yeah, it was all a bit homemade. It worked, but it wasn't amazing, which was a shame really, because it was something I was heavily involved with as an engineer on it, but it was done very cheaply, I think is all I can say. So anyway, right, so this hasn't been powered up in some time. I don't know how well this is going to work, but let's power it up and see what we get, if we get anything. So that's back to the capture. It's not happy straight away. There we go. So yeah, so I did all the custom desktop on this, and yeah, everything really. So it has all the stuff that RISC-OS Direct had, but it was the Plus version, so it also had this, which was a little setup widget thing. Again, I didn't do any of this, called Forte Tools, and this allowed you to do setups. Yeah. Also, this was before the Wi-Fi was enabled, so these machines didn't do Wi-Fi. That's the main SD card. And there's a few things on here I wouldn't mind having. So it had a few things bundled with it. It had Quake. Now, the build of Quake on this is actually quite good. It actually plays very well, all things considered. Might need to turn that down a little bit. What you're hearing is the audio for the display I'm running on, but just turn that down a bit. But basically, it'd be quite nice to show this. So again, this wasn't free as far as I'm aware. I think this was pay only on RISC-OS. But that's what we need, is a bit of blood and gore. But it's not a bad port. It's one of the better things that RISC-OS does. Sadly, it's probably one of the most modern games it does as well, unfortunately. Anyway, we'll quit out of that. There we go. So yeah, that's quite cool. The build of Doom, if I remember on this, actually had the music with it. The freeware one doesn't. For RISC-OS, that is. Emulators had something set up so as DOSBox. The Acorn 26-bit, if I remember correctly, so this runs as in a slightly higher resolution. This boots as an Archimedes in RISC-OS version 3. So the aspect ratio is now all crooked. We go full free mode, that's how it should look. This too then had separate games, and these are your 26-bit games, including Elite. Yes, I have a high resolution monitor. So I appreciate you can still see that. I can't. I seem to have lost my display, which is slightly awkward, but you can see it. I can see it on the capture. I can't see it on the monitor. So something's gone a little bit awry there, but that's why we've not got any sound now. But yeah, so I mean that all works okay. Can anyone remember how to get out of this? It's F12, isn't it? Yeah. There we go. That's interesting. We're learning all the time, so can I... There we go. Just quit that. Quit. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so a few things on here that's curiously interesting. And the nice thing about running in the 32-bit mode is, sorry, in this 26-bit mode is, as an Archimedes, is this is a sandboxed environment. So if you get viruses or break things in here, it doesn't bring down the whole operating system. And obviously there's a shutdown option, which you double-click this little script, and it actually does an API call, and it takes us straight back to the Direct Plus environment. So yeah, there's a few things I'd like to, how can I put this, borrow. Not for custom distribution, you understand, but it's got C64. Yep, it has Vice Simulator. Does that work? It does. Yeah, C64 works. You know, it is quite cool to play with this. You know, it is cool to play with it. But I'm so pleased I didn't lose or wipe this, because this isn't in the public domain. I'm not planning on putting it in the public domain. I'll just stress that. But it might form the basis of my Rotten Acorns project, and possibility of taking either this operating system build or elements of this operating system build and putting it into a custom RISC-OS build that I need for my not Archimedes, RISC PC rebuild project. especially if we've got to be playing games. It would be nice to play games that are, how can I put this? Interesting, noisy. You get the gist. Starfighter 3000, which is dated. I mean, this ran on the Archimedes, but I think there's a way of crashing this if you're not careful. Display. I'm not going to set it full screen because I think it'll crash. Oh, I normally set it up as mouse actually. Choices, mouse. Can't quite remember how that works, but I have set it as mouse before. It's quite a fun game. I mean, it's dated for the time now, but it's quite fun and noisy, and you get the gist. So yeah, yeah. Scum VM is quite good as well. Now I have used Scum VM. It's just a port of the Scum VM engine, and it's quite good for supporting things like the PC build of Myst. Cyan World's Myst game, which I have had running very successfully under RISC-OS, and that's something I probably would pop in there actually if I'm going to use this in a display capacity. It's just a fun game to play, Myst, and it's actually something I'm thinking about doing a Myst related project as well on the channel at some point. So yeah, I'm glad that's working. I feel like I need to make a copy of this card just for safekeeping. But there's a few bits I would like to keep, if you know what I mean. What version is this, by the way? I know it's quite old. I'll sort the mouse over so it's confusing. What version are we running? RISC-OS 5, 5.29, November 2020. So it's 4 and a bit years old. This build of the OS. Yeah. But yeah, there was bits of this that I like and bits of this I really don't like. If you're trying to go for a modern looking OS, it doesn't look that modern. Especially with the theme set up on this stock build is not great. Saying that, I would like to go down the very retro road, so I would want it to look like 90s Acorn Archimedes type machines. So yeah, that's not so bad. You can kind of get away with the kind of digital paper embossed grey look that RISC-OS does so well. There's so much nicer visuals for it, but for some reason went for this sort of 90s. Well, it looks a bit naff. Fine if I'm going to run it as an period piece, but trying to run it as a modern product, no. Just looks naff, unfortunately. Right. Shut you down. There we go. Marvellous. So I'm pleased that worked. So yeah. So we've got something we can play with a bit later on. Oops, that's the wrong thing. There we go. And yeah, I'm glad this machine sort of, well, it's a pie in the box really. There wasn't an awful lot that could go wrong. I think we did have one of these malfunction. It massively overheated or something. mainly because I think there was a giant heatsink that was stuck on it, which wasn't done by me, and I think it bridged. It's dusty, very dusty, but it bridged the voltage regulator to the CPU, so they just overheated each other and it blew the voltage regulator up, which was quite fun. And these Pi 4s always ran a bit hot, but yeah. So that's just been stuffed in a box for a couple of years since it was manufactured. So yeah, I'm not massively into. I scrapped a lot of this kind of development stuff because I just wasn't that interested in it anymore. So a lot of the plastics went, and this thing is already breaking, which isn't great. So I said it wasn't done with particularly good quality PLA, I'm afraid. But anyway, right, oops. Yeah, so that's that. That's fantastic. Let's clear some space. We'll say hello to George, by the way, if you're still on the in the chat. George, how you doing? I'm late, 8 till late. Don't worry. Well, I appreciate you joining us. I'm sorry that the schedule has been a bit. I'm here, I'm not here for the past couple of weeks, family commitments and all that. But yeah, we're here now, and hopefully we'll have a bit more of a settled weekly schedule for a little while now, which will be good. So, yeah, so that's that. Let me show you, if I can, if I may. Just hang on, move bits out of the way. I'll show you another little gubbing that I picked up. This came from work. Toshiba branded USB 3.5-inch floppy drive. And I'm just going to grab a disc to test with. No idea if it's even capable of reading double density discs. This is a high density disc. I just think we could shove it in the streaming PC and watch all hell break out. That would be fun. Right, by the way, that's the disc for that saved. Disc for that SD card backed up. So, excuse the cup of tea. I'm just going to plug this in. Oh, it's making noises off camera. Okay, I don't know what happened. Oh, right, yep, okay. Let's go to... Apologies for the strange. Right, let's just... so I think, have we... Right, are we done for... Good, right, so we're good from... Okay. DirectX has failed on that, that's nice. Let's go to... where are we? This PC. Floppy drive. Really? So you'll read that disc. That's very interesting. Because this, with the other thing last week, this wasn't last week. Last week or two ago, whenever it was, that wasn't working. Let me just. This isn't a solution for Omniflop rather, because it requires a physical disk drive with a motherboard connection. These USB things don't tend to work that well. Let's just go back to... There we are. Right. So I know everyone wants to see my cup of tea. Right. Let's just try the DOS... In fact, this is HeliSim. Okay. Let's just try this. So, apologies, it's just off camera over here. In fact, I might be able to just... if you bear with me, I can zoom out a bit. Apologies for this. Manual zoom camera. There we go. In focus for you. Yes. Oh, no. There we go. Right. So it's connected into the stream pieces. Let's put that in. Double density disc. This camera, despite how it goes out of focus, despite the fact it's a manual camera, there's no autofocus on it. Right. So let's go back to. There we go. Right. No. Can't read double density discs. Take it out. Put in high density DOS disk. Yes, it can read it. For some reason, I've dumped a hex file in it for whatever reason. Yeah, there we go. So, sort of not useful for our purpose, really, unfortunately. Because basically it's these sort of discs you want to read. So the vintage machines can't read high densities, and the newer USB drives can't read double densities. Despite that, that's a DOS disc, and I'm assuming it won't be able to see the Gem 2 DOS disc either. I highly doubt it's going to see that, but we'll just get that a shot, see what it does. No. I won't bother showing you the screen on that because it doesn't work. So, George is saying I have an external floppy that I have to unplug and plug in almost every time to change the disc. Yeah, do you know what? Let's give that a shot. I somehow have a feeling it just doesn't like double density. It's a PC DOS formatted disc, but let's just try that. Because you might be onto something. Right. Nope. Nope. Absolutely no. Despite the fact it's a Windows XP machine that made this disc, and the XP machine can read them. So, yeah. Oh well, that's the end of that. Yeah, it's a pain, really. It's an absolute pain. Oh well, there we go. There we are. We've done some science, everybody, and now we know something that doesn't work. What a surprise. Probably need to get the magnetic screwdrivers away from the floppy disks. That would be a good idea. Let's file that back in the box with the data center so we don't lose it. Right, we're getting some progress. So, on to the final thing this evening. We'll just unplug. So, yeah, well, we're going to throw them out because no one uses them. It actually still got Harper Adams' number on the back, but no one uses them. So, I was asked, did I want it? I said, yeah, I'll take it. Don't know how much use it is to me, but never mind. Right. Very much a work theme this evening. I try not to do work themes, but everything is sort of revolving around work, as you can imagine. So, anyway, final thing. We have a box of random stuff, which was given to me by a colleague from, sadly, a deceased friend, and not a work colleague, but a colleague from Stafford S3-E10 Jam, David Pierce or Price, or I can't remember his surname, and I apologise. It's David something. And I've had a few bits off him from his estate that his widow gave away, and this is kind of some of the last of it. David was he's actually in the Stafford S3-E10 Jam video, and he was quite a driving force behind. He was a lovely chap, he really was, and unfortunately I don't know what it was that he died from, but it was around the COVID pandemic time. I don't want to say it was COVID, but I don't know, to be honest with you. But you know, but yeah, he was a lovely chap, and he really did sort of push the boundaries of what, you know, the spirit of the maker community, and he just did so much stuff. I have other bits of his stuff, and this is some more stuff that filtered through. So I thought maybe we could sort of just have a quick look at the box of random stuff. I will zoom you back in again. Fortunately, I can't see the camera unless we do it like this. So it's not as bad as that time I changed the lens on this camera while you were looking through it. That was fun. If you remember that. Okay, right. So I thought, let's just go through this box of stuff. Because some of it, like this board, relay board, which is very nice. We've got here, David was always creating things. So we have here an Amstrad keyboard with infrared board blue tacked onto the back of it, and then its cable going into what looks like a Arduino. What are these? These are the Pros, the Mini Pros. At Mega 328p, piece of cork, and then that's very, very neat wiring. David always had very neat wiring. And let me just apologies, let's just get that in focus. Ooh, not quite. There we go. Yeah, into a LED, also a liquid crystal type display. So some sort of terminal typing something. I'm out of focus. This is not going to work, is it? Because I'm now out of focus at the... There we go. Right. Lots and lots of these displays, these LED, LCD type displays. And that one's got another... I do actually think before COVID, if I remember correctly, these... I bought a few of these myself for projects. We haven't actually done anything with them yet. But these Micro or Mega Micro Pros, whatever they were called, they were like really, really cheap because they were a cut down version of the Nano. And but now they've gone really expensive for what they are. But yeah, so just directly onto the pins. So yeah, that's a shield board for... Is that for Arduino Uno? Looks like it. Keypad with some buttons on. Yeah, it's always interesting just to go through things just to see what they are. We have a remote control here for Sony something, quite an old looking Sony whatever it is. So I'll just put that to the side. So, there's an element of mad inventor going on here, but some battery, that's battery stuck or blue tacked to... That's a standard Arduino Nano or clone Nano board at Mega 328p. Look at this, a resistor array stuck into a mobile phone screen and has a speaker. No idea. Absolutely no idea what is going on. Optical mouse, Trust optical mouse with, again, another Mega... Are these, I think they were called Micro or Mega Pros or whatever they were called. These little ones. And I don't know what is going on here. It seemed to be sort of tapped into the driver chip here, driver IC. And then it's got a composite video jack, RCA jack, on the side of it. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea what is going on there at all. Oh gosh, I've just noticed this. It's a whole Raspberry Pi Zero. And it's got some bolts and screws, and it's got a device, a little LCD, a little LED or OLED display. OLED, I think. Manually wired in. I don't know if you can just see that. Manually wired into the GPIO. And it's got an SD card. There's an SD card in it. 16 gigabyte SD card. We could try powering this one up. I don't know what it will do, but we could try powering that one up actually if you wanted to. We'll come back to this box in a minute. Let's just pop that out of the way. I'm just thinking, have we got a suitable power supply? I should have one somewhere. I should have one somewhere. This is where all your older Star Raspberry Pi power supplies disappear on you just when you need them. But just bear with me. There we go. What did I say? I wasn't rummaging around for stuff. So I've got, here we are, main supply. Slightly older type. This is for Pi 2, but it'll be fine for this. So let's just see. We're going to power in, which is that one. I've never actually powered any of David's stuff up because you just don't know what it does. But what does this do? You ready? Lights on. I'm not expecting it to do anything straight away, because it would have to load a some kind of kernel in. If it ever did anything, I don't know. An LED just here which is flashing. I have no idea if this is self-contained, if it needs to be part of something, or your guess is as good as mine, I'm afraid. It looks like it's loading something, but it's not doing a lot else, I'm afraid. So I'm getting quite a warm, dusty smell coming off it. Not getting particularly hot, but that doesn't really mean anything. Just take that power out. Let's have a think about this. What we could do is I have we just do a little bit of a swap around. I do have a mini. I don't mind the mini HDMIs as much as I do those awful micros. I've got, let's put in HDMI. Let's put that into the capture. Okay, so that's going to go into the capture card. Let's click back over to capture. Let's pop this back onto power. Let's just see what it does, because I'll be curious to see what it does. If it does anything. What on earth is that? Okay. Well, it's alive. It's working. It's going to be very, very slow on the Pi Zero though. Oh, so it's doing VNC into something from the looks of it. It's like archaeology, isn't it? What is the project? What is the project? What did it do? Okay. Right. Okay. So. Right. So if I get. Don't even know if this hub. I've got a hub here. I don't even know if this hub works, but let's give it a shot. So if I plug that into there, mouse into hub. Okay. It's reset. It's reset again. I knew it. Damn it, always does this. Well, we can assume the board's working okay. So we've got a working Pi that's okay. What on earth is... I don't know what this is doing. I don't know what this is doing. Okay, so okay. Some kind of Raspbian Pixel desktop. VNC Connect, so it's meant to be remote access. Right, that's back to the desktop. Oh, the mouse is working. There we are. Fair bit on this build. Fair bit on this build, to be honest with you. And these two, I don't know what these do. Okay. Some sort of booting? I have no idea what this is meant to do. Extremely interesting, but no idea. But it does seem to be working. It is a fully working Pi. With a screen attached to it that doesn't appear to do a lot of anything. It's unusual, isn't it? I don't know. I honestly don't know is the answer to that. We'll just shut down. Well, if nothing else, it's a 16 gig SD card and a working Pi Zero. That's not to be sniffed at. No idea. Absolutely no idea, but still, that was curious. take those out. Okay, let's just pop this stuff out of the way. Let's go back to the box then. Let's see what else we've got. Is that a ESP? ESP. It's not. Is that? It's not a 32. It's the older one. It's 8. What was the older one called? ESP. I can't blooming remember. ESP86 something. I can't remember what the number was, but yeah, I recognise it. It's not an ESP32. It's a slightly older ESP microcontroller. It's the 32-bit build, so yeah, that's interesting. We've got, there's another one of those Pro Mini Micro things. Arduino Mini Pro, that's it. That may go 3 to 8p. We've got something hooked up to a. We've got an Arduino Nano. I'm more used to working with the Nanos, which are these. Same chip as the Mini Pro. Wired into another matrix display. Again, just resistors, just sort of, yeah. I guess I'm a little nervous about powering some of this stuff up because I don't know what it's meant to be part of or what it is meant to do. But I guess we could try powering that up and just see what it does. I'm just seeing if I've got a suitable cable around for doing that. That one might be suitable. Nope, it's not. Have I got a suitable cable? Yes, I have. I've got one here. So let's just put that in there. And is that going to reach over to my USB bench supply? I think it will. There we go. Okay, that's powered up. Martin's suggesting that the 0 might be a network monitor. Possibly. And there is actually something, I don't know if you can see this, there's something on this display which, let me just reset. Hang on, let me just see if I can get you to, let me just see if I can get this zoomed in a bit. I might need to cut some lights so you can see this because the screen is dull, to say the least. Let me just cut some lights down. Right, hang on. Now, obviously, need to just change the focus a bit so we can. There we go. Okay, let me just do a reset. I have to be careful when I walk down the street. I find myself subdued by poetry in plastic bags stacked against the walls as invisible operatives carry out tests upon my spastic junction, obeying the commands transmitted from the crown of the what the hell is this pillar. Time and time again the lights spell out the fear of darkness. Okay. The fear of darkness. Oh yeah, at least unknown content is safe for you. That had occurred to me actually. Knowing David, I kind of figured that it would probably be all right. I wouldn't have thought it would be. Yes. Um, it's just rolling again. Okay, that's yeah, that's fine. It's not weird at all. Oh wow, there's gonna be a noise in a minute because I've just heard Anna, that's my fiance, is just back. Been to see her mother, gone to work, been to see her mother. So the dog, who hasn't seen her today so far from this morning, is going to go mad in a minute. So just a word of warning on that. Yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it? I'm also very conscious. I've kind of turned all the lights off so we can see that. So the lighting is now a bit strange. And let's put some lighting back. There we are. There we are. Oh god, too bright. Too bright. Turn it off again. There we go. Sunglasses. There we are. Right, I can see now. Okay. Yeah. Strange. It works, but yeah, okay. We'll put that to one side. MP3 players. He kept always having MP3 players with bits modified and sticking out of them. I don't think that's gone mouldy. I just think it has sort of deteriorated or something's happened. But anyway, that's that. Crystal, some sort. Battery that probably shouldn't be in there on its own. And then we've got this control. Oh, this, by the way. DB9 to RS232 to TTL, which is interesting. And then this with modified battery, which doesn't make me in the slightest bit nervous. SD card, camera, digital camera. I want to say that's some sort of cannibalized digital camera of some sort. Again, if that's unknown content. Atmega 328p sensor, glue logic. I don't know what those are. They're not timers. Can't see the bit number on them. Yeah, modified batteries does make me a little bit nervous. 16 megabyte SD card. Yeah, I think it looks like it's the gubbings of a digital camera of some sorts. I might have a look to see what's on that card, but I'm not going to do that live for obvious reasons. Yeah, no idea what this was meant to be or do. Clearly it was meant to do or be something, but yeah. So yeah, there's some interesting bits there. Possibly some that could be reused, especially these boards would probably be tested, and if they seem okay, then they could probably be recycled. It's always useful to have some parts. I think this, no idea. Well, I agree with Martin's idea that it might be some sort of network adapter. But yeah, but it'd be useful just to recover the Raspberry Pi. The SD card alone is probably quite valuable and useful to me on its own. So probably just need to do a little bit of clean up on the back. But yeah, that's good. And again, it's free Pi Zero that works. So that's grand. And yeah, so that's that mystery box of stuff. Okay, well, I think that's probably going to be just about it for tonight. So thanks everyone so much for your company this evening. Reminder, if you haven't done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing. Thanks so much again to everyone who has been in the chat, and for those of you that will no doubt be watching as a repeat or a video later on, remember links are in the description and also in the chat for everything we've discussed tonight. I'll be back same time, hopefully same time next week from 2000 hours GMT. So until then, thanks so much for your company. Have a great evening, and I'll see you live next week. Until then, good night and bye for now.